friends. Ooh, this feels weird. It's been a long time since I've sat and done a video like this. I kind of feel like that meme where she walks into the room and she's like, hey, how y'all doing? But for whoever may still be interested in hearing me talk about crap, I wanted to make this video, and hopefully this is the start of being able to post these kinds of videos with some kind of regularity again. If you subscribe to my channel, which if you don't, please do, you probably noticed that I continue to put out music over the last year, but I have not made a video like this in a long time. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about why that was and my upcoming project. So I'm just gonna get right to the point and not sugarcoat it. I released my first book, my debut novel, last October. It was a YA contemporary novel. I published it myself, and it is not done very well. And that could be for a lot of reasons. I know that young adult is not really having its moment right now. Maybe that contributed. I think that I realized as I got closer to the release date that there were some things that are kind of part of a template or like best practices of publishing your own book that I didn't do, such as sending out a ton of ARCs and posting about it all the time. And I didn't do a lot of that because I assumed I had a built-in audience with my music, and I figured that they would then read my book, and that just didn't happen. So there are definitely some shortcomings on my end that I can attribute that to, but I still love the book. I still stand by it. I hope that maybe one day it'll reach its audience, but until then, I have just been trying to be proud of myself that I wrote a book and that I put it out. So this was like the second week of October last year, and then November rolls around, and I'm not going to make this video political, but the US election did not turn out like I hoped it would, and it made me really depressed because I definitely questioned what I was missing. I didn't understand how so many people were having such a different lived experience than me, a different reality than me. I think that a lot of that has to do with social media because your algorithms just kind of end up feeding you stuff that confirms what you already believe and doesn't really push back on it. But yeah, it made me really depressed. It made me question a lot of stuff. And when you're depressed, you don't really feel like doing stuff. And so there were a lot of things that I just dropped the ball on, like posting videos, because I just was not in a good headspace. And then on top of that, I made the decision to narrate the audiobook for my book, The Have Not, and I'm gonna make a separate video about how absolutely miserable it's been, but suffice it to say, it has been awful. So many regrets. I think ultimately I'm gonna be very happy with it, but oh my God, this process has been soul crushing because I've been doing all the editing myself too. I've narrated the thing, I'm editing the thing, and it has just taken so long. And a big part of that is because it was very hard to be motivated to work on it when the book itself was not doing very well. It's kind of like, well, what's the point? But the point is that I set out to do it, and I'm going to do it, and it's gonna be great. And if people don't listen to it, it might just be my 13th reason. I'm just kidding. I would love to be able to move on to writing my second book, but I've had this deal with myself that I don't get to do that until I finish this. And the end is in sight. I see the finish line. So it's probably gonna come out in January of next year because of the other project that I have coming out in just a few short weeks. So let me tell you about that. Let's go back to November of 2024. I had a lot of big feelings, and when I have a lot of big feelings, I usually write songs about them. And November 7th or 8th or whatever it was had not even come to a close before I had started writing a song about my big feelings. It's called You Haven't Seen Me Angry Yet. It came out in January, and it ignited something within me. I think it was really cathartic for me to write that song, and it made me think, wow, maybe they haven't seen me angry yet. I still have a lot of anger. And so I decided to lean into that and started writing a female rage project, a female rage EP. And it has 7 songs. All of them are pretty spicy. A few of them at the time of me putting this out have already been released. The first one is called Delusional, and it is based on A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, specifically Tamlin and how much of a buttzit he is. And then the second one is called Smile More, and it is different than anything I've ever released before, for sure. I actually went on my Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and asked women to tell me the most offensive thing a man has said to them, and I took their stories and wrote a set of lyrics inspired by them, and thus Smile More was born. And maybe, probably unsurprisingly, it's pretty explicit, but I also think it's important, and I wanted to do it in a way that was very in your face, and I think I achieved that. So those are actually track 1 and track 2 on the album. Track 3 is called Traitor, and it actually has kind of a cool story. I took a couple of music production classes, and part of what we had to do was, with a group, write a song. And so I was with 3 other guys, shout out to Kason, Sammy, and Josiah, and I was just like, hey, like, would you guys want to write something kind of in this style of like cinematic pop? And they were down, and so we wrote this song, and I was like, man, this is good, and this is something that I would release, and if I get the chance to, I'd like to release it. So we finished up some recording. I took it to my producer Daniel, we did some additional recording, and that is the 3rd track on the album. Track 4 is called Judgment Day, and it is based on A Handmaid's Tale. So really boppy and fun. Track 5 is actually a produced version of a song that I first put out a live YouTube video performance of in, I believe, 2012. Maybe 2013. It's called My Forgiveness, and you can go back and find that video if you want more details on the story. But I'm really excited after all of this time to have done a fully produced version of it. Track 6 is called Dig Your Own Grave, and it is based on Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, specifically about Violet's dynamic with Theophany. And it's about the allure and corruption of power, and how the people that get power never seem to be satisfied with it. And then the 7th track is You Haven't Seen Me Angry Yet. It just felt like a great bookend to put that at the end of this project, considering it's what started this project. The release date for that is October 8th, which is a Wednesday. I already have some incredible Smile More merch. There's an incredibly talented artist that made 3 different designs for me, and I'm obsessed with them. So the link for those, if you want to check them out, will be in the description. And music-wise, I don't know what's after this. I currently don't have any studio dates booked, but I'm sure that will change. But I don't know if it's going to be singles, if it's going to be another body of work. This EP is definitely more on the rock side, and I've really enjoyed that, so it might be that. I just don't know. We'll see. I do also have plans to write my 2nd book, which of course will have a music component to it. And then January is my target date for releasing the audiobook for The Have Not, as well as a deluxe version of the soundtrack with a song that didn't actually make it onto the original soundtrack, and a couple of alternate versions of some of the soundtrack songs. And that's where I've been. Like I said, I'm going to make a whole dedicated video talking about my audiobook experience. And just let me know in the comments what kind of videos you want to see from me. Do you want Q&A? Do you want mental health chat? I know that I did not do a story behind my songs of 2024 because, again, depression. So I can definitely look at doing that if that's something people are potentially interested in. Just let me know. But hopefully this is the start of me being back on here like this more regularly, and I hope that you will check out the EP. I'm so proud of it. Definitely hope that you add it to all of your Female Rage playlists, and I will see you next time. Bye!